Like, you're going through the same thing I'm going through. That's some crazy crap, right? So, but it was comforting to know that I was not the only one. And that's what I'm here to tell you. You are not the only one going through what you're going through. And right now, if you're having a dilemma with domestic violence situation, I don't know how it is with your home, whether you're the wife and you're being violated from your husband, or if you're the husband being violated from your wife, or if you're the child being violated from your parent. I don't know what your situation is, but I do know there is hope for you. Okay? And so while I was in the shelter, I had a realization moment. I'm thinking, I'm sitting here looking up at the ceiling. After coming back from the welfare office, I grabbed a pamphlet to read the Spanish side because I was bored out of my mind, right? I'm like, I'm going to do something to keep my mind occupied. I'm up here reading the Spanish side, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't have a job. What do I know how to do? So God implanted in my mind to go back to school. So I'm like, I don't see why not. There's nobody here telling me I can't go back to school. There's nobody here telling me I can't get a job. So I looked up online to see where the nearest school was, and luckily the nearest school was not too far from my shelter. And so I saw the requirements that were required of me, and I'm like, well, I don't have any of this stuff because the documentation is once again at the house that I left. So I needed to gather all of these documentations, my marriage license. I needed to gather my birth certificate. I needed my transcripts from the colleges previous. And I didn't have any money. So I went to the supervisor of the shelter. I'm like, listen, I need to go back to school, but I don't have any of these documents with me. I need you guys to help me do this. I was very adamant and kind and polite, but still adamant nonetheless. And I'm like, I don't have any money. I don't have a job. I just left from a domestic violence situation. I'm trying to get my life back in order. So the supervisor at that moment was kind enough. He was like, okay, this has never been done before, but I'll ask my superior. And so, yes, they were able to help me get my transcripts and send it over to the new school that I was going to attend. They helped me get my my birth certificate, my marriage license, because the new school, it wasn't actually new, it was a school that I was going to go to when I was in high school, but I chose to go a different route. And so they had my information, but they had my maiden name. So I needed to get my marriage license, and I'm like, oh, I don't have money for that or transportation, you know? So I went to my super again, the supervisor of my shelter, and I'm like, this is what my school is requiring of me, and you know I don't have any money, so I need you guys to help me with this, please. So they did, and they helped me, and that was a blessing right there. And so that was another stepping stone toward hope to achieve my goal of getting out of the shelter. And so there's my skill set that I was falling back on. I'm like, I'm going to, re-up my skill set on what I went to school for already. And that was fashion design. And so I did that. And I'm still in school, mind you. But when I first started school, man, I had to readjust my mindset. Because when I first walked into the class, the teacher was like, do you know Excel? And I'm like, yeah, sure. She's like, okay. So when I went to go sit down, she was like, if you have any questions, just raise your hand. And so I was raising my hand every time. But I want to give you some hope that I found in the Bible to be comforting to me. And that was reestablished on my journey for me to understand that God's word is a blueprint for how we live our life. This comes from the book, the Old Testament of the Bible, 2 Kings, chapter 4, verses 1 through 7. And this is when a woman becomes a widow and her husband is like a prophet or a prophet in training under Elisha. Not Elijah with a J, Elisha with an S. Okay. And so after he passes away, the woman finds out that she is in debt because her husband didn't pay the debtors before he passed away. And the collectors were coming to her, and she went to Elisha to ask for help. So I'm going to read you the verses, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on it, okay? So this is 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 1 through 7. The wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried out to Elisha, "Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as his slaves." Now, at that time, women could not work. Okay? Keep that in mind. Women could not work. Men were the breadwinners. Men were the ones handling all of the money affairs. So in order to settle the debt collector came to wanted to take her sons to settle the debt, and they had to work for as long as the debt was in place until the debt was repaid. And the mom did not want to break up her boys. She had just lost her husband, so she's grieving. And another thing is she's financially strapped. She's not making any money at this time. She couldn't, because during that time, like I said, the women were not allowed to work. So let's continue. Verse 2. So Elisha replied to her, "How can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house?" Another version reads, Elisha's reply was, "What do you want me to do?" I know that sounds harsh, right? The man, her husband just passed away, and he's like, "What do you want me to do?" She's like, "My husband was working for you. What do you expect me to ask you for? I need help with my debt." But he's like, "What do you want me to do?" Right? Or tell me, what do you have in your house? So he's asking her. And so she says, "Your servant has nothing there at all," she replied, "except a small jar of olive oil." Elisha said, "Go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars. Don't ask for just a few. Then go inside and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour oil into all the jars, and as each is filled, put it to one side." She left him and shut the door behind her and her sons. They brought the jars to her, and she kept pouring. When all the jars were full, she said to her son, "Bring me another one." But he replied, "There is not a jar left." The oil stopped flowing. She went and told the man of God, and he said, "Go, sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left." Now, this begs the question of you. In your situation, this is what I have to think about too. And this is what God implanted in my mind. What do you have in your home? Your home meaning, what skill sets do you have? Before you left your situation and you are now in this sheltered environment, you are now in this situation where you don't have a foundation of a roof over your head. You don't have the foundation of financial income. You may be with your children. You may not be with your children. What can you use that you already know that you have skills for that can help you get out of your situation? This right here is where trusting in God helps you to get out of your situation, because the same thing happened to me. Like I said, I was laying there reading the Spanish side of the pamphlet from the welfare office. And then it wasn't my idea. God put that idea in my head. Go back to school. Go back to school. Okay? So what I want to talk to you about is Elisha gave her advice with how she can handle her situation. Knowing she was not a woman of great wealth, he said, "Well, what do you have in your home? What do you have in your home? Your mindset. What can you create?" She's like, "Nothing but oil." What is your oil? What is your talent? What is your skill set? Elisha said, "Go borrow some jars." What can you borrow to help you get out of your situation. I'll tell you what I used. I used the people at the shelter, that's for one. I didn't have any money. Their money helped me get in school. Them paying for my school transcripts helped me get in school. Them paying for my marriage license, my birth certificate, helped me to get in school. That's what a borrowed jar was for me. That was the vessel. What did I pour into that? What oil did I have? I already knew what I wanted to do. I needed to upgrade my skill set in fashion. That was my oil. What's your oil? What are you doing? What can you do to help yourself get out of the situation? The next piece of advice Elisha told her, he said, okay, now that you filled your jars, go. Sell the jars in the marketplace. Pay off the debt. First things first, you got to pay off what you owe. Pay off your debt. Okay? What is the debt? Whatever you're feeling guilty about, ask God for forgiveness. What do you feel sad about? Ask Him to help you through the pain, because all pain and sorrow will not be removed from your situation. You're going to cry. I did. I had several nights of crying. Okay? It's not going to end. It's going to get easier. But at the time that you are in right now, I know. It's not easy. But I want you to try to regroup yourself. Try to find the good in your situation right now. What is your oil? What is your skill set? What do you know how to do? What do you need to do to make things better for yourself? How can you ask for help? Okay? So, this is what Elisha did for the widow. Okay? He gave her business advice. And in the future, I want you to refer to this to help yourself in business if you ever choose to become an entrepreneur. Because this is what I'm going through now. This is what I did not have the privilege of doing while I was with my husband, because every advice or every idea that I presented to him, he did not want me to do it, because he said, I'll make the money for us. And it left me homeless without a job. So, as I regrouped myself while I was in the shelter, that's free room and board. You don't have to pay anything. Think about it. I was in the shelter. All I had was time. I didn't have anybody hovering over me saying, who are you on the phone with? You texting your man? I'm like, I ain't texting nobody. I don't have, you my husband. Who would I text? I wasn't the cheating kind. I didn't cheat on him. He would always accuse me every time I go in the bathroom. Why do you have your phone in there? Are you on the phone texting somebody? No, I ain't texting nobody. That's another story. Okay, so let's move on. After I enrolled in school to hone in on my